Good afternoon, all, and welcome to today's Open Classroom. I trust everyone is safe and well. Today, we welcome back Chris Smith, who will be covering civil designers, long section sheet file plot generation functionality. As always, please feel free to use the text chat service on your go-to webinar floating dialogue to ask us any questions you may have during Chris's presentation. So, Chris, good afternoon, and please take it away.
Thanks, Charles, and welcome everybody to this webinar. We'll be looking at long sections. I've purposely chosen a very complex sheet file just to show you how you can create your items simply and efficiently, that you can quickly create these layouts. So here you can see I've got a very complex layout with all the information required to set out this dual carriageway highway. So let's start off with the basics. I'm going to go through to the title block and how we're going to load that into our sheet file in a moment. So let's cover the title block for now. I'm going to go and open up a normal drawing. This will be the title block template. So anything that is static within the production of your layouts should be placed into your title block. I would suggest that for every project, you would create a title block with all the information that you require, and from there we go and create the sheet file. This will save you a lot of time in not needing to create global lines and global text. You can see that all these items are text. Here's a CAD text. I've even got some lightweight polylines. It doesn't need to be lightweight polylines. It can also be CAD lines. You'll see there is a hatch as well that's come through. So all these items will come through and be placed into your sheet file. Very importantly, let's just have a look. I prefer to have the dimensions. So this is a lightweight polyline of a A0, ISO A0. That is my paper boundary. I know there is a paper boundary with if I move this out the way, you'll see that there is actually a paper boundary, but there is a reason that I do this, and just bear with me. You'll see why it will all come together a bit later to have that CAD boundary. That CAD boundary is also very important for later on when you want to scale a plot and scale to fit the drawing. It's handy to have it in the future as well, so it's very good to keep it there. Let's have a look at how we're going to load this into our project. And one other item I'd like to also talk about is the drawing settings. It needs to be in A0. It needs to be 1 millimeter equals 1 millimeter and Cartesian. Great. So let's close that now and have a look at the sheet file. So if we go to the sheet file editor, now you can create a sheet file from scratch, but that's going to take a lot of time. So rather take one of Knowledge Base's sheet files and then edit it to your company's specifications. So I'm going to go and say File, Load Sheet File, and I'm going to go to my Knowledge Base folder, which you'll find under C drive, Users, Public Documents, Knowledge Base Software. You'll find the sheet files. I'm going to look up for the dual carriageway long section, and I'll load that. So here you can see you've got the knowledge base's dual carriageway. I'm going to go to File, Save As, because I want to make this for my project. I'm going to go to the desktop, Demo Data, and I'm going to place it in here. Now I'm going to call this Demo Sheet File Dual Carriageway long section A0. You can call it the project's name, anything you'd like. That's up to you and up to the naming convention for your company. I'm going to say save. Now I've saved a copy. Now I can do whatever I like to this, and I've always got the original back on the C drive. Okay, now we've already, as you saw earlier, got a title block, and we've also got the layout as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use a Windows selection and simply delete all of those items, you'll see that if I do a crossing selection here, I'm left with two items, a global region and a long section region. Keep in mind that we can't remove those two. We need those two regions. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select with a crossing on this corner and a crossing on that corner. I'm then going to hold the shift key in and select over here. Now I've deselected the two regions and I'm left with global lines. I can simply delete those, click back inside here and delete those items. So now I'm left with a global region and a long section region. Great. Now you will remember that we've already got all our lines and our grid set up in our drawing, so we don't need that information now. That is what's nice about the newer versions of Civil Designer, is that you don't have to go and locate and move these items and type up all of these information because you've already got it in the CAD. So we can actually go and remove all of these items for the text. And press OK. So there all the text is gone. I don't want any of these lines because I've already got that. It's this information, that's all of this information that's been set up and that I want to keep on this side as well. So there is a goal here. I know it looks like I'm just deleting everything, and I'm going to delete all of these items as well. Great. Now I'd like to get rid of this grid, so I'll just go to my settings and I'll change that to 0, 0, and the grid will be gone as well. So now you can see I'm left with an outline of this project, and that's very important to know what that outline does. So now that it's all nice and clear, I'm just going to draw a line, and where this line ends is the most important item for this project, and I'll explain in a second. So let me just go and press J. Let's double check that I have clicked on there. So that ending where that line ends is very important because it's the reference point for all of this text. You'll see that the min y for this will be 0. So there you got the min y is 0 and the max y is 150. Minus 150. Bear with me, you will see the benefits of knowing what that is in a moment. Okay, now I'm going to just talk about this global region. Very importantly, this is your left edge. It must stay 0, and this is your bottom edge, and it must also stay 0. You are more than welcome to extend this edge and this edge out. That doesn't matter, but that edge is the edge of your A0 paper. So just think of whenever you're creating your A1 or A2 or A0, that edge is always going to be the corner for the global region and the paper edge. Right. Now I just want to click on it. I'm clicking on the long section region, and I'm going to just bring it in a bit because I want to chat about this item here. Okay, it's probably a bit better if I just move this out a bit here. The position of this will shift just now. In fact, I can even show you if I go and say save, close this and save it, yes. And I now go back here and load it. Sheetfiles. So there's that demo. You will see that there's the CAD item and it's now shifted there. The reason it is shifted is because that edge horizontally to that important corner is fixed, and I will show you where it is fixed in a moment. Then that edge there to this edge, to this vertically to this edge of the vertical region is also fixed. So if you select this item and you go to your sheet files, you'll see that you've got your first frame spacing is this one here, and you've also got your horizontal spacing, which is this one here. If you're not sure, you can always press F1, and you can see here we've got C, which is from the global edge to this edge here, and C is your horizontal spacing, and you've also got your A, which is your first frame spacing. Great. So we can close that, and I'm going to cancel that for now. Now that I've got all of this set up, I want to bring in the long section, or the title block. So I just want to double check that 0, 0, and I can go and say File, Load Drawing. Now I know it says Load Drawing, but it's actually XREFing the drawing. So any changes you make to the CAD drawing will update in your sheet file, will update in all your dynamic layouts. That's why it's important to make it per project, because if you place it on the server and somebody goes and changes the project name because they're starting a new project, then all the other drawings for your other project are going to change. So it's very important to keep your sheet files project specific or even rev specific. So I'm going to go and load the drawing. I can actually just place it anywhere for now, and I'm going to load the title block into my sheet file. So I've loaded it anywhere because I wanted to see, you see why it's beneficial to know where that paper edge is. That's why I prefer having the paper edge in CAD. And I'm going to go and say modify move, and I want to use the snap. Click on that edge, and I'm going to move it to that corner. So now I'm happy that that edge is moved. I can select this edge, still look grow. I'm always having one eye stuck on there to see what am I actually selecting. And I can go and move this. Let's move over to this snap to nearest. So I'm going to click on this edge here, and I'm going to click on this edge here. So now I know that my region is fixed, and again I'm looking here because these can move and it causes a lot of headaches. So always make sure that's 0 and that's 0. Great. Now we got to touch on this long section region. Now that's up to you to position it where you want, but I find the easiest is to place it on this edge because that's a known distance from there to there that I can easily measure. And then I also want to pick it up again, so I go and find that black box, get the square, click, and now I go and place it here because I know I can easily measure from there to there. So what are we dealing with now? Where is 0, 0 sitting there? So we need that corner to go and sit on this corner here. Great. So we need to measure and times it by 10. So if we go tools, measure, this is not going to work for me. Let's change over to the snap mode. And we go and snap over here, and we can snap over here. And there I can see that it needs to be 10, so that's very close to 1010. And then what is this corner over here? That's going to be 2000 because it's times by 10. Great, so I can go and find this edge again, go to my sheet files and go and update this. So the first frame must be, let's have a look here. This edge is 2000 and C is the horizontal spacing. So C is the horizontal spacing, and I think we worked that must be 010 and this must be 2000. Let's have a look if that's correct. I think I've made a mistake there, but that's no problem. I'll just great. So that edge is now in the center there, so that is perfect. So you can see that it's all going to be inside your drawing. Don't worry about the sheet file editor's paper space. You just need to worry about this corner here, which is your global region. Okay. So now what we need to make sure is this was previously 150 wide. From this edge here to this edge was 150. So you'll see This is slightly skew. So if I go here, you'll see the min y is correct, but that actually needs to be minus 200. And that needs to be minus 200 and minus 400. And so it goes on. There's not enough time to do all of those, but you will see they all shift and update. You can also go and change its color as well as the line. So this is the text pen color, and this is going to be the pen color of the lines. Great, I'm happy with that. The only other, you can see here, this I would probably shift up and place. Let's move this so I can go and get this edge over here, and I can go and pick up this edge over here. Great. So I hope that clarifies how to get the sheet file to work exactly how you would like it to work. I would like to just close this and say save yes, and then I'd like to go just to show you. If I zoom in here, let's just have a look at these values. So that min y and max y, this is because that is the min and that is the max. And then for this one, this is the min for this line that's drawn to the max there. So that's why you have the min and the max y coordinate to know where it must actually draw. Okay. Great. So if we go to now for plotting the actual information in these blocks, you must remember that you've got lines from one. So if let's quickly open the sheet file that I've got. I'm going to go and say File, Load Sheet File, and I'm just going to open up this dual carriageway sheet file that I created. So over here you can see you've got your right grade and vertical grade. So that's going to come from this grading from the active row that's available. But when it comes to items like this, you can see you've got your lines written here as in lines 8, 7, 6. So you need to just take down a piece of paper and write down what line represents what information you're wanting to harvest. So this one's going to be easy. It's the chainages along the route. But these ones, it does get a little bit complex. So I would advise you to write down the name and write down the line number that's being used. So that's going to be the best route. All the other information is going to get its information from the active road. So if we go and close this now, and I then right click over here and I say delete all layouts, yes please, and I say plot generate, and I specify this dual carriageway, you'll see, okay, in this example I've renamed these so that there was a line 1 3 lines 1 through to 9, and I've documented so what each item is for me. Now the plotting is to do with those lines that you see in the graph section of the layout, and the labels is to do with the data. So if you want the natural ground, the Z values, then you want to plot it as a graph, but you also want to label it. And you can see with the other levels along the road, I only want to put the data in. I don't want to plot the graph information for the levels in the center and the edges of the road. Then I've said I'm going to use the string value for the center line and also for the R pivot and the chainages. You can choose to have string or the old PLC coding or the string coding. So if you're using the string coding, then you can see that you've got the different naming convention available to you. If you're using the PLC, that same naming convention is found in the offsets. And when you're extracting, you can choose to extract the chainages or the elevation. You can also choose, and that's the elevation coming from the extracted cross sections, where that is the elevation coming interpolated from the survey information. So directly from the DTM surface onto your long sections. You can also do a offset value, so that would be 3 meters away from the road, and it actually places that value in. Okay, so if we click on next, it will then tabulate this table, um, and this is representing each line on what it's going to plot and the values that it's going to plot along the route. You can see that it actually creates along the route all the information that I want and splits when it gets too high. Great, I hope that helped everybody understand the sheet files. Please let us know in the comments or via email or via the ticket system, the help desk at civildesigner.com, if you have any questions pertaining to this um, webinar user group. Thanks very much. Have a great day further. Back to you, Charles.
Thank you, Chris. That was awesome. And thank you to all who attended. Please join us tomorrow where Andrew will be back to cover composite sheet file drawings, where he will include long sections, cross sections, and plan views in one plot. Have a great afternoon. See you all back tomorrow at the same time and same place. Thank you and goodbye for now.